All right, good evening. It's April the 7th, and the Town Hall meeting of the Bel Air Board of Town Commissioners is now in session. All right, if you could please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. And first on our agenda this evening is the approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion?
Yes, Madam Chair, I move that we approve the agenda for this evening's meeting, April the 7th, 2025, 7 o'clock at the Bel Air Town Hall.
Thank you, Commissioner Chance. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Taylor. Any discussion of the agenda this evening? All right, Mr. Krantz?
Thank you, Madam Chair, for approval of the Bel Air Board of Town Commissioners Town Hall Meeting Agenda, April 7th, 2025. Commissioner Rutledge.
Aye.
Commissioner Chismar.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
Commissioner Chance.
Aye.
And Chair Edding.
Aye.
Tonight's agenda is approved. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Krantz. Next is the approval of the minutes. May I have a motion, please?
Yes, Madam Chair. I move that the minutes of the Board of Commissioners meetings held on March 11th, 2025, March 17th, 2025, and March 25th, 2025 be approved as submitted, including minutes for the following meetings. 11 March 2025, Commissioners' Work Session, open meeting. March 11th, 2025, Commissioners' Work Session, closed meeting. March 17th, 2025, Commissioners' Town Hall meeting, and March 25th, 2025, Commissioners' Work Session, closed meeting.
Thank you, Commissioner Chismar. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion of the minutes? All right, Mr. Krantz?
Thank you, Madam Chair, for approval of the Town Hall Meeting minutes for March 11th and March 17th. Commissioner Rutledge.
Aye.
Commissioner Chismar.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
Commissioner Chance.
Aye.
And Chair Edding.
Aye.
The minutes are approved. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Krantz. Our first presentation this evening will be the Kite Day Proclamation. And Mr. Krantz is going to join me at the podium to accept that. So as everyone knows, Kite Day is coming up very shortly. It is a great day in the town of Bel Air. We're hoping for warm and slightly windy weather so our kites can get some updraft. Mr. Krantz has certainly been a big helper in Kite Day every year, which is hugely popular. And get there early if you intend to be there because they do sometimes run out of kites. It's very popular. So whereas the Bel Air Kite Festival founded in 2006, and since that time, the annual festival has grown in popularity to attract thousands of Harford County families to this event every year, and whereas in memory of Alan Alt, the visionary founder of the Town of Bel Air Kite Festival, his passion for bringing people together under a sky filled with kites and joy will forever be a cherished part of our community. This year's festival is held in special memory of Al, celebrating his lasting legacy. May his spirit continue to soar. And whereas this festival would not be possible without the support of the Aberdeen Proving Ground Federal Credit Union, the premier sponsor of the Bel Air Kite Festival, and their generous donations. Equally important are all the volunteers, including the friends and family of Alan Alt, and the members of the Wings Over Washington Kite Club, the American Kite Flyers Association, who generously donate their time and energy to make this festival extra special. And whereas this is the 18th year that the Town of Bel Air has coordinated the Kite Day Festival with volunteers and staff and bringing this family fun activity to Rockfield Park and giving away hundreds of kites to kids of all ages. Now, therefore, we, the Bel Air Board of Town Commissioners, hereby declare April the 12th, 2025 to be designated Kite Day in the Town of Bel Air and encourage all town residents to go fly a kite. All right, Mike. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
I'm hoping for good weather.
Absolutely.
Time the festivities start on the 12th?
those who were curious, Kite Day festivities will begin Saturday, April the 12th at 10 a.m. Our next presentation will be the Explorer Award presented to Officer Richard Kraus.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, everyone. I'm Chief Charles Moore of the Bel Air Police Department. Good evening, audience. Good evening, explorers. Good evening, officers. Good evening, commissioners. Good evening, directors. And good evening, Senior Officer Rick Kraus. So we're extremely honored today to be joined by a representative of the National Life Group, which is an organization behind the Do Good Heroes program. This initiative recognizes first responders across the country who go above and beyond the call of duty, both in the uniform and in the community. Again, we're extremely honored and humbled to have our officer here tonight, Senior Officer Rick Kraus, receive a very prestigious recognition. Here to tell us more about this wonderful program and to help us celebrate this year's grand prize police honoree is Miss Megan Coleman. Miss Megan Coleman, manager of the Do Good Heroes at National Life Group Program Award. Please join me in welcoming Miss Megan Coleman.
Okay, hello. Wow, what an absolute honor it is to be here tonight representing National Life Group and our Do Good Heroes program as we recognize an extraordinary individual, Senior Officer Richard Kraus. My name, as he said, is Megan Coleman, and I manage the National Life Group's Do Good Heroes program. I have the absolute privilege of hearing stories of first responders from across the country, people who serve their communities with courage, compassion, and so much heart. And let me tell you, hearing about the incredible work Officer Kraus has done made it immediately clear why he was chosen as one of our 2024 Grand Prize winners. Just a bit of background for everyone. Do Good Heroes is a fairly new program. It was launched in 2023 as a natural extension of our Life Changer of the Year award, which has recognized educators going above and beyond for over 12 years. But we knew we needed to do more to recognize the selfless service of our first responders who don't just protect and serve, but uplift and strengthen their communities in ways that often go unseen. Each month, we select nominees to receive a cash award to donate to a nonprofit of their choice. And at the end of the year, only 2 are chosen as grand prize winners, 1 police and 1 fire rescue winner. Tonight, I am so proud to announce that Senior Officer Rick Kraus of the Bel Air Police Department is one of those winners. Officer Kraus, your leadership, service, and dedication to supporting families facing unimaginable challenges through your grand prize winner donation of $5,000 to the Child Life Program at the University of Maryland Medical Center's Pediatric Oncology Department truly embodies the spirit of this award. And we're thrilled to announce your presence, along with your family, at an all-expenses-paid trip to our National Life Group Conference of Champions happening this May in the Bahamas. I hope you have your swimsuits ready. Officer Kraus, thank you for being an example of what it means to truly do good. You've not only made your community safer, you've made it stronger, more compassionate, and more connected. Congratulations on this well-deserved honor. Congratulations.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay? Okay. So thank you, Megan, and good evening, everyone. My name is Ryan Bankin. I'm a financial planner with Worthington Financial Partners, our local firm here in Baltimore. I'd like to congratulate Officer Kraus for being an extraordinary example of service and leadership for all to follow. It may feel like deja vu for some of you in attendance this evening. It wasn't so long ago, October 7th of last year, to be exact, that I was here presenting Rick with his inaugural Do Good Heroes Award. At that time, Rick was chosen as a top 5 Do Good Heroes honoree and gifted a $1,000 donation to a nonprofit of his choice. I'm honored to share with you, again, just some of Rick's accomplishments in the community. So for over 20 years, Rick has protected the community as a member of the Bel Air Police Department. In that time, he has evolved into a fantastic officer who has instinctively managed to blend superior interpersonal and social skills with that of a seasoned law enforcement officer. For that reason, he was chosen in 2011 to serve as Bel Air's school resource officer, a role in which you oversee the security and welfare of nearly 6,000 students and around 800 teachers and staff across multiple public and private schools. You take the role seriously. While your primary responsibility is to keep the children and staff safe, you've also handled serious incidents, provided mentorship, and even given advice to parents and staff off the clock. We couldn't be more grateful for your dedication to Bel Air schools. What makes you a do-good hero, however, is your service above and beyond the call of duty. When you're not busy keeping students safe, you manage the Bel Air Police Department Explorer Post 9010, a program that trains teens and young adults in various aspects of law enforcement and promotes discipline, responsibility, and community involvement. The program, which has over 30 active members, is well regarded in Harford County. You also lead the Bel Air Police Explorer Youth Camp, a low-cost child care alternative program for children ages 8 to 14. The camp, which fills up quickly each year, offers daily drills, games, and lessons, and culminates with a graduation ceremony. The funds raised from the camp tuition are redirected towards the Explorer program and scholarship funding for explorers pursuing college education. Rick has also established a strong partnership with the Bel Air Lions Club and hosts an annual child safety fair that focuses on child identification and safety. On top of all of this, at the end of each school year, Rick can be found on the beaches of Ocean City serving as a lifeguard. A very nice gig, I might add. He's been a lifeguard since graduating high school and has performed over 250 water rescues in this role. In short, Rick is the embodiment of what it means to be a National Life Group do-good hero. Thank you for exemplifying National Life Group mission: do good, be good, make good. Please continue to make a positive impact on the lives of those around us and keep up the great work. Thank you.
Come on, Brian. Megan, can we get your picture?
I'll stand on the low side. There we go.
Wait a minute, Dave. Do one without the hat, 'cause I don't have one.
Could I hold up and get my scores on my family up here? 4 for 4. Let's go familia. 4 for 4. Arriba. That's you two, Dad. Kelly. Mother. Where you at?
Dad's like a retired poem where he's like, oh my gosh, another one tricked out. We'll keep him humble.
I recently saw Officer Kraus engaging in some award-winning dance moves on the Bel Air Elementary School Instagram page. He's a tremendous asset to the community. Yeah. On the BAES Instagram page, he was greeting the students by ballroom dancing with one of the teachers. Just one of the many things that he does to brighten the faces of the town's kids. We're very lucky to have him.
I just remember that one day I was out there during the morning school arrival, and Officer Kraus was not there because he was somewhere else, and all the kids and parents were asking, "Where's Officer Kraus? Is he okay?" And the officer that had taken the duty said, "Oh, he's fine. He's just somewhere else." But it was just so nice to see how much they loved him and appreciated his work with the kids.
We're very lucky to have Senior Officer Kraus, I'll tell you that. Yes, we are. Yep. Yes.
All right, moving on in our agenda, under new business, we have Resolution 1248-25, the Town Administrator's Fiscal Year 2026 Budget. May I have a motion?
Yes, Madam Chair, I move that the proposed resolution number 1248-25, providing for the receipt of the Town Administrator's budget for fiscal year 2026 be received by the Board of Town Commissioners.
Thank you, Commissioner Chance. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Taylor and Mr. Hopkins, the moment we've been waiting for.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, Madam Chair, Commissioners, and thank you. First, as we get started this evening, I first want to thank my department heads and our town employees for helping craft the FY26 budget. We certainly could not have done this without their suggestions and their ideas. I next want to thank Lisa Moody. Lisa's continual attention and diligence to every detail of the budget, along with her institutional knowledge and her understanding of the nuances of town government, I believe has built a fiscally prudent FY26 budget. I'm extremely grateful to her for her many long hours that went into preparing what you're about to receive. Tonight, I present to you a balanced budget. While we will delve deeper into the details over the next 7 weeks, I would like to provide you some highlights of what you will see over the next 7 weeks. We first begin by saying, as I begin my presentation, I want to recognize our town employees for their commitment to the town and for their exemplary levels of service. Our staff are in the public eye every hour of every day, working closely with town residents and business leaders. These people comprise the character qualities that epitomizes our town. They are people of such high caliber that it is vital we retain them. It is their work that makes Bel Air such a great town. So, moving into the bulk of my presentation, starting with pay and benefits. Since 1986, COLAs across the region increased 107.3%. The town, since 1986, has only increased COLAs since 74.9%. In FY24, the COLA was 5%, dropping in FY25 to 3.5%. The COLA as of December 24, which is the average that Ms. Moody uses, and which we would propose for FY26, is currently 2.9%. We recognize costs are rising. We must continue to keep pace. No COLAs were awarded from FY15 to FY17. We fell behind, have been struggling ever since to catch up and honestly repay those employees who weathered that storm and are still here with us. Therefore, to keep pace and continue us moving forward in the right direction, I am recommending a 2.9% COLA and merit step for all employees. I am further recommending adjustments to the general civilian pay schedule, police pay schedule, and public works pay schedule to address long-standing compensation issues and improve recruitment and retention. The Public Works Department continues to experience the highest employee turnover in town, and the proposed changes will complete the partial compensation adjustments made 2 fiscal years ago while reintegrating those positions into the general pay schedule. In addition, the recommendation includes a modest 3.9% adjustment for all civilian employees on the general pay scale, something that has not occurred in many years. Lastly, the proposal provides 1% adjustment for sworn police officers to maintain a competitiveness and equity across all department. These pay schedule adjustments, along with the recommended merit increase in a 2.9% COLA, will enable the town to continue and attract and retain quality talent for the next fiscal year. I fully recognize that's a paragraph full of numbers, but when we come to that point in the budget process, Ms. Moody, Mr. Krantz, myself, will go over that in detail so it's more easily clear. Lastly, under pay and benefits, to maintain continued support of retiree health benefits, or premiums rather, I am proposing a 3% increase for eligible retirees. Under DPW, Director Klein will have a number of projects he will talk about, but I wanted to highlight three. During his budgetation, he is going to highlight the fact that highway user revenues were more than anticipated this year. That will allow us to budget an additional $95,000 for an additional street resurfacing project in FY 2026. We have allotted and are proposing $60,000 for renovations to the interior offices of Planning and Public Works. The existing wallpaper, paint, ceiling tiles are well over 25 years old and will be updated to create a more modern and refreshed appearance. And a third highlight from his budget of the many will be $12,000 proposal, which we have budgeted for the replacement of the town clock on Main Street, which is currently right 2 times a day. The rest of the time you're guessing, or you can read the Sun. From the police side of the house, Chief Moore and I continually, and I emphasize continually, discuss the critical need for additional police officers. I'm offering the following proposals to the commissioners. First, I am proposing the addition of 1 new police officer position, bringing our complement of officers up from 32 to 33 full-time sworn officers. I'm further proposing the combination of 2 part-time PCOs, police communications operators, into 1 full-time police communications operator. I am proposing funding the Records Information Coordinator part-time position from our FY26 budget. Well, that's a fancy title for our body camera manager. We were denied grant support for this position in FY26. This person manages our body camera retention program. Now, Chief Moore will go into much more detail on this particular program because it's vital when he discusses his budget. But it's important to note that body cameras worn by our police officers, as you well know, capture the actions of our officers and hundreds of hours of the people with whom they interact. This coordinator inventories, catalogs, and produces upon request said footage, whether it be a prosecuting attorney, a civil attorney, whomever may make the Public Information Act request for those records. It is a very labor-intensive but a critically administrative position. The lead program's executive salary has been historically partially grant funded. However, we are uncertain whether or not this position will continue to be grant funded. Therefore, I am proposing to fund this position from our FY26 budget. Our lead program is highly valued as it handles mental health and other quality of life issues for citizens that more often than not have to be addressed by law enforcement, and diverts them away from law enforcement, so it does not tie police officers up and allows a single source person, if you will, the opportunity to focus on the needs of that person who is requesting help. The lead executive is well integrated with the health and human services organizations throughout the county, all to meet this critical need. The best example of this I have, if you recall, was the issue last summer with Local Street in Howard Park. We had homeless people. The woman was challenged with the homeless who she was kind to, but then they didn't want to leave. And we certainly had to send police there several times, but the lead executive person actually worked hand in hand with her, had all the points of contact, the information, the mental health contacts, et cetera. So I am proposing funding this position from the FY26 budget. Excuse me. From the administration, under Mr. Krantz, I'm proposing the addition of a part-time file clerk to help in the town's front office. The town's records and retention and disposal schedule has not been updated in well over 10+ years, for some records even longer. It's essential we add a second part-time file clerk to meet the need of effective and efficient records management practices. The current individual assigned to this task is actually fully occupied already with the daily demands of the office, and with some of his part-time of 23 hours being dedicated to assisting us at live streaming like we're doing tonight. Under planning, Alisan Park, our last park standing, if you will, for right now, will be improved with senior-focused exercise equipment and a paved connection to Lester Way that will connect walkers and cyclists with Bond Street. Minor improvements will include tables, chairs, trash receptacles, porta-pot, a bike rack, and most likely an AED as well. This effort will also be in partnership with the Bel Air Downtown Alliance and should receive some grant funding as a result of this partnership. We will be requesting $90,000 for this upgrade. We are also requesting $60,000 from the commissioners to underwrite the bike ped plan implementation. Kevin Small will go over a number of these, the details of this plan because there are quite a few, but highlights would include primarily adding several bike lanes to provide greater cyclist and pedestrian safety as one of the highlights. We are also requesting under planning $25,000 to address and correct town boundary issues. There are several locations in Bel Air where the calculated official town boundary, completed several years ago, shows enclaves or property not officially within the town, although it falls within town limits, which, if the commissioners are not familiar, we literally have plots of land in the middle of town that are in the county. So as a result, we do not receive tax revenue or other things, yet they may take advantage of town goods and services. So we would, Kevin had this town boundary survey completed, and the money would allow us to move forward looking at these enclaves, which most likely occur when annexations did not properly include the parcels as the town expanded. So we'll be looking to close those gaps, if you will. And last, under the highlights, we have decided at this time to remove and discuss further at a later time the Burns Alley Improvement Project from our budget proposal for a savings of $185,000. By transferring approximately $758,000 from our capital reserve account, we can cover the cost of requested replacement of aging vehicles in our fleet. These replacements include 4 police cars, a replacement vehicle for planning, a replacement vehicle for IT, 2 vehicles for DPW. It also includes a trailer, our fuel pumps and pedestals, and other DPW equipment. Under the category of our town partners, as we all know, we always strive to make sure we continue to support, to the extent we can, those nonprofit groups who help frame the character of the town, as well as support the town's economic vitality. While we were not able to fully fund each of the requests that were submitted to us, we were able to make sure that those nonprofit groups received at least some form of financial support. Like always in the past, many of those groups have been invited and will appear before you over the next several weeks to speak with you. As one of our partners, Rockfield is requesting the town waive its personnel costs for the wine festival this year in an amount not to exceed $9,500 in lieu of requesting town funds for a capital project. They too have been invited to appear before the board. And lastly, the building at 16 Pennsylvania Avenue, which if some of the commissioners aren't familiar, this is a building that is across from the lower entrance to the library. It's a nondescript building. It's on the right-hand side when you make the left onto Pennsylvania off of Hickory. That building actually belongs to the town, and it has been with the town for a long time. Anyway, it has been used extensively for years by the Bel Air Recreation Council for storage. I'm sure Mr. Chismar, maybe Ms. Edding, you and I remember taking our kids there and picking up gear. The building is in need of a new roof at an approximate cost of total of $60,000. We are proposing splitting that cost with the Bel Air Parks and Rec Group, each of us paying $30,000 to accomplish that task. I have a budget, but this next project is not under my budget. It actually will be housed under the police department. This is a project that I am proposing as the town administrator, and like I said, will be captured under Chief Moore's budget. I'm requesting $226,000 for the installation of a Verkada CCTV system. We've had tremendous success with the LVT camera system that Chief Moore and I put into play several years ago. It has been extremely instrumental in making high-profile arrests wherever we place it. I decided that I wanted to seek out an even deeper, better solution, CCTV solution, so that our police would have as much real-time situational awareness and recall capability of critical information and critical infrastructure, high-risk areas, high-theft areas in our downtown Main Street. In other words, my plan is to put approximately 12 cameras throughout town in key locations to give real-time situational awareness to police dispatch, which in turn can give this information to the officers. This program will be complete with artificial intelligence, where you can program this camera to, if it's on Main Street, you can ask them to pick out a particular subject wearing a red jacket between the hours of 3 and 5. The camera will go back and search its history and give you a picture of every person wearing a red jacket on Main Street between 3 and 5 on a given date. The Sheriff's Office uses this system in Edgewood. Aberdeen uses this system in Aberdeen. Harford County Transportation uses this system for their fleet management. Chief Moore and I studied several of these systems. We're very much like the Verkada system because of its capability, so we'll be pursuing the Verkada system. And again, what we are proposing here will form the platform for us to build upon over the next several years, because I don't plan to stop with 12 cameras. And from a crime suppression perspective, as I mentioned, our system will integrate with the Sheriff's Office and Aberdeen Police. So if Aberdeen Police is looking for a vehicle they know to live in Bel Air in a certain community, and we have a camera there, the camera will capture that information and they can search it. By way of example, a test camera that was mounted on the roof here at Town Hall recently assisted our town officers with the apprehension of a hit-and-run vehicle here at the intersection in front of Town Hall by identifying tag number and make and model of car. We recalled it. It was as clear as the picture between myself and Commissioner Rutledge. So very good opportunity. So from a success standpoint, why can we be successful? Our budget can be successful, and we can accomplish these tasks because of the following. We will experience a 26% decrease in our workers' compensation modification rate. This savings alone is the result of employees diligently practicing safety in the workplace. I know that you all had attended the holiday where we gave out safety awards. This particular decrease is a direct correlation between these two and the employees. The greater reduction in these costs, the more we can allocate to other projects. So it bodes well for us keeping illness and injury as low as possible. So while the gift cards are a moderate gift, they go a long way in reducing and saving us money overall. Our income tax remains strong. Fiscal year 26 will be the last of the 3-year triennial real estate tax assessment. Unfortunately, our real estate property taxes have increased 4.3%, but our investment portfolio has done very well and remains strong despite some of the rates that are dropping. As I mentioned earlier, we received an increase in our highway user funds to just slightly above $800,000, and we have been extremely careful on our use of the capital reserve. So as I close, I believe that because of everyone's diligence in this budget process, staff and I have achieved the best outcome and expectation in that we do not have to raise taxes, cut any employee position, or reduce or cut any service to the town or her residents, all while sustaining the exemplary level of service that our residents have come to expect and appreciate from town staff and town employees. Our first of 6 budget sessions begin Wednesday, April 9th this week, followed by April the 15th, 24th, 29th, May 7th, and May 13th. Public input sessions will be on April 21st with adoption of the final budget on May 19th. And naturally, all of this stuff will be on the web and our Facebook page. To our citizens, we are asking them to check the town calendar frequently and be sure to sign up for our text notifications if you haven't already done so. And the last but not least, my town administrator's proposed 7-page budget was posted earlier today for public viewing. The full budget binder, the binders that you were given tonight, will take a few more days to get them online. We're looking at about 300, maybe 300 pages worth of documentation that has to be scanned. Once we get that scanned and get it and make sure that we've got everything covered, that too will be posted. But I would ask the public's indulgence because it will take us several days to get that done. And with that, ma'am, that is my town administrator's proposal for tonight.
Well, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Hopkins at this time? I know we'll be looking at every page and every line.
Right. Well, I had a lot of questions, but I think we'll do that.
That's what I
For
was
me,
gonna
I was going to
do.
do it at the
Yeah.
individual sessions.
The big answer that I got
You know.
was there will be a raise and a COLA for employees and no increase in the tax rate for the residents. So that's the 50,000-foot view as far
Right.
as I'm concerned. So, all right, we'll hold the rest of our
Yeah.
questions. then.
I just, if you'd indulge me, I have one very basic question that I'm sure we'll get a much more in-depth answer, but just because I'm curious. On page 4 of the town administrator's budget, under miscellaneous, other increases quite a conspicuous amount, and I'm just curious what's in there.
I saw that, yeah. Went from like 2,000 to 120 some, was it? Yeah.
Give me 1 second.
Absolutely.
There are a lot of numbers in my head, so.
I can only imagine.
I'm sure.
I do not envy you.
So, as in the past, we have always housed, if you will, our cost of living in the other account, which is located in the miscellaneous budget. So that 2.9% that Mr. Hopkins mentioned equates to about $299,000. So that is located in that miscellaneous on page 4. The other item that's in there is about $313,000, and it is the change to the pay plan that Mr. Hopkins mentioned. So this is the change to the civilian pay plan, the sworn pay plan, and part of that is moving the public works pay plan that was separated several years ago back onto the civilian. So it's all of that included in that line item that you're seeing.
And that will be redistributed in the final budget.
Correct.
Right, yes.
Yep, and that is, we're just sticking with history. That's how we've
Absolutely.
always done it. It just makes the most sense instead of trying to separate it all out
Yep.
amongst And if there has to be any tweaks or anything, then you have to go back and change it anyway. So just put it in lump sum, let's talk about it, review it, and then, yes, it would be redistributed for the final
Because
budget.
this time last year, that number was a lot higher than 2,500. Right? When the town administrator's initial budget was presented this time last year, all of that stuff would have been under other, and then at the end it was
Correct.
redistributed, which is why it looks like a massive increase, but it's
That's
not
correct.
actually. Okay.
That's exactly right. So last year, it would have housed the COLA,
Right.
the 3.5% COLA. So that was redistributed,
Right.
as you mentioned, and so it goes back to its original $2,500
Right, okay.
balance. So
It,
yes,
it looks eye-popping going from
it does.
2,500 to 600,000, but that's a very good answer.
it does. Yes, you're welcome.
All right, any other questions regarding the budget?
And I'm sorry, Madam Mayor,
Yes.
if I may, that's, if you just want to jot a page number down, it's on page 113.
And
where
that
you'll
is so
find that
important to
information.
know, because I know that I run through the budget and look for any big changes. You know, last year it was $2, and now it's, $24,000. And I'm sure that lots of residents will do the same thing. So I think it's great that you asked the question, and we have the explanation as well as the page number, because that's where we're housing things that may or may not be approved, may change as we go through the budget. And if it stays the same, then that number will be spread out across the departments, the salaries, and the other expenses that are included. So good question. All right, we have one member of the public here, Mr. John Stump, who registered in advance to discuss the police section of the budget, but feel free to discuss any portion of the budget that you wish to address this evening. You will have 3 minutes, and you just need to state your name and your address for the record.
All right, my name is John Stump. I live at 523 East Broadway in Bel Air. And I want to thank you very much for allowing me to speak to you this evening. As a member of the Citizens Advisory Board for the Bel Air Police Department, I'm also the Director of Operations for the Baltimore Guardian Angels. We're very familiar with police. We're very familiar with law enforcement as a whole. Tonight, I wanted to tell you about what I feel is in the town of Bel Air and the Bel Air Police Department. You may recall that in the Bel Air website, it says, in order to enhance and preserve downtown Bel Air, enhance traditions, community identity, economic stability, business owners and interested citizens have joined hands in the Bel Air Downtown Alliance. Well, we do want to continue the initiatives to promote arts and entertainment, expand shopping, fill up restaurants, attract new businesses, and economic growth through development. And all of which are very important for the health of the town of Bel Air. The town in Harford County continues to grow. If you look on Route 22, those $700,000 homes, they're going up fast. There are more people coming into Bel Air than ever before. And I will take a moment to say my respects to Chief Moore and the people. Sir. All of which requires more policing and more highly trained officers with the tools necessary to keep continuing into the 21st century. In a recent article dated March 14th, 2025, it was outlined that Bel Air's highest paid employees, 49 members of the Bel Air Police Department, total nearly half the town's entire budget. What she didn't say, or she or he, was that crime prevention is not cheap. It never has been cheap. It never will be cheap. So I will ask you, how much is it worth for you to keep you and your family safe day after day, 24/7? Whether you know it or not, you're in a war. War known as a war on crime. And the enemy are at our gates. The criminals are operating with a sophisticated 21st century methodology and a 21st century mentality. Criminals are not waiting.
1 minute left.
I'm sorry?
1 minute left.
Okay. Will you wait or act? I understand there's going to be at least one police officer in the budget. That ain't enough. I can guarantee you that. Well, if it sounds like I sound like Chicken Little? Maybe I do. I can't guarantee that you don't want to wait until the sky falls in, or even the citizens in the town of Bel Air are crashing at the gates of your gates. Crimes are not going away, but ladies and gentlemen, neither am I. I'm going to be here throughout the whole budget process, and I'm going to be banging at it until we get enough cops that we need, because there's too many people coming into Bel Air that we can't handle. Chief Moore, my respects, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stone. All right. Anything more on the budget? In that case, our next item is Resolution 1249-25, the Bel Air Planning Commission's annual report for 2024. May I have a motion?
Yes, ma'am. Here we go. Yes, Madam Chair. I move that resolution number 122625, the Planning Commission 2024 annual report, be filed with the Bel Air Board of Town Commissioners.
I think that's Resolution 1249-25. Typo?
Okay.
Error?
You're right.
There you go.
124925, right. The text says.
That's a good point. Did we,
Oh, I'm sorry.
vote to
We did not.
accept
We
the-
did not. All right, no further questions on the budget. There you go. I'm sorry
Okay.
about that. All right. Then we're ready to vote, Mr. Krantz, before we move on to the next item. Jumping the gun.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is for the vote for acceptance of the Town Administrator's fiscal year 2026 budget. Commissioner Rutledge,
Aye.
Commissioner Chismar,
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor,
Aye.
Commissioner Chance,
Aye.
and Chair Eden.
Aye.
Resolution 124825 is passed. Thank you.
All right. And now to try again on Resolution 1249-25, the Bel Air Planning Commission Annual Report for 2024. May I have a motion?
Yes, Madam Chair. I move that resolution number 124925, the Planning Commission 2024 annual report, be filed with the Bel Air Board of Town Commissioners.
And do I have a second?
Second.
All right. And Mr. Small?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Land use article of the Annotated Code of Maryland requires that all local planning commissions file an annual report with the local legislative body, you, and submit the report to the Maryland Department of Planning. It's designed to keep the state up to date on development activity, and development capacity, preservation activities, and the comprehensive plan implementation. This report includes a summary of the development and improvements to community facilities. In 2024, development regulations regarding open space were reviewed, and changes were made to advance how fee in lieu may be implemented. After several years of slow building permit issuance, residential projects picked up in 2024. Town Planning Commission approved 4 new single-family lots along Linwood Avenue and 30 new apartments along Bond Street as part of a mixed-use development. 2 residential building permits were issued. Preliminary approval of the commercial projects continued in 2024 with the expansion of Chick-fil-A. Now you have 2 drive-throughs rather than 1, big improvement. And development of an office and restaurant uses along Bond Street as part of that mixed-use development that I mentioned. Additional description of Board of Appeals and Historic Preservation Commission approvals and other related activity can be found in your attached Exhibit A. One thing I should note, some of the pages in your report may have draft written across those. That was a mistake. That is what was given to the Planning Commission. It's now an approved report. So if any of you need to have replacement pages, let me know and I'll take care of that for you. Development inquiries related to commercial development were relatively active through 2024, as they've always been. The Planning Commission has approved the 2024 annual report and recommends the town board accept filing of Resolution 1249-25.
Thank you, Mr. Small. Any questions for Mr. Small?
I don't have any questions for Mr. Small. I just want to, something that we spoke about at the work session, I want to express my support for conforming our procedure regarding this report to that of Aberdeen and Havre de Graces. And that'll be for future years, but I wanted to put that out there. You know, I feel as though this exercise of filing something with us over which we have no real authority is perhaps not necessary, but that's a conversation that we can have. I certainly have no objections to exercising our duty as prescribed.
I share your feelings on that. I think we should conform to the other jurisdictions because it makes more sense. We have no authority to do anything, so it's just a question of they're required by state law to file it with us. So
Right.
let us know, let the public know, and let the state know what has happened over the past year, but we don't have any ability to change it. So I agree that we should change our method to conform with the other jurisdictions.
Right, and that's something that, starting next year, we don't have to do a resolution as we're doing tonight, but it's still being filed with you, because that's where it is with the, that's what state law requires.
As it should be. I mean, we
So
need to know what's going on.
It would just be, in the future, if you approve that change, it would just be, you find it in your
Box.
mailbox,
Right.
and that would be that.
And it would post it on our website for folks
Right.
to review if they cared to read it.
As it's always been, yeah.
Right. So essentially no change other than we wouldn't go through this exercise.
Exactly.
It looks like we have some ability to do something when we really don't. So we'll take care of that for the future. Any further questions for Mr. Small? No? Is there any member of the public that wishes to comment on Resolution 1249-25? Okay, in that case, Mr. Krantz?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is for the Commissioners to accept the filing of Resolution 1249-25. Commissioner Rutledge,
Aye.
Commissioner Chismar,
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor,
Aye.
Commissioner Chance,
Aye.
and Chair Edding.
Aye.
Resolution 1249-25 is filed.
All right. Next is the deed of easement for Tollgate Marketplace, the 12-inch sanitary sewer. May I have a motion?
Yes, Madam Chair, I am moving that the Tollgate Marketplace deed of easement and agreement as outlined in Exhibit A between KRG Bel Air Square LLC, the property owners, and the Town of Bel Air, Maryland, be approved by the Board of Town Commissioners.
Thank you, Commissioner Chance. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Taylor. And Mr. Klein?
Thank you, Madam Chair. KRGB Bel Air Square LLC are the owners of a tract of land known as Tollgate Marketplace located at 615 Baltimore Pike, which is within the corporate limits of the Town of Bel Air. In accordance with the Public Works Agreement, the owners are granting the town a drainage and utility easement for maintenance of the 12-inch sanitary sewer main running through their property. The easement and agreement is executed by and between the property owners and chair of the Bel Air Board of Town Commissioners after approval by the Board of Town Commissioners. As a condition for the development of the property, the owners constructed a 12-inch sanitary sewer line for public use. The deed of easement and agreement formally grants the town ownership of this critical infrastructure in perpetuity, ensuring long-term access and control. This easement provides several key benefits to the town. It enhances the reliability of the public sewer system by securing permanent rights for maintenance, repairs, and future upgrades. Additionally, it ensures that the town can manage and regulate wastewater flow efficiently, preventing potential service disruptions. The easement also supports future development in the surrounding area by improving sewer accessibility, benefiting both residents and businesses. Staff recommends that the Tollgate Marketplace deed of easement and agreement as outlined in Exhibit A between KRG Bel Air Square LLC and the Town of Bel Air, Maryland, be approved by the Board of Town Commissioners.
Thank you, Mr. Klein. Anyone have any questions for Mr. Klein?
Yes, Mr. Klein, I just had one, or it may lead to others, but what's the status of the quality of the sewer line? Is it in good shape
Yes.
right now? I mean, it's not going to need any immediate
No, we,
upgrades or maintenance done on it?
before we got into the nuts and bolts of this whole thing, we inspected this section of sewer with a camera, went in and looked at it all, and it was in
Okay.
good shape.
So it's in good shape?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Terrific. Okay, any other questions for Mr. Klein? Any member of the public that's here that wishes to make a comment on this deed of easement? All right. There being none, Mr. Krantz.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For the vote on the Tollgate Marketplace deed of easement, Commissioner Rutledge,
Aye.
Commissioner Chismar,
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor,
Aye.
Commissioner Chance,
Aye.
and Chair Edding.
Aye.
It's passed. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next, under miscellaneous, we have the issue to discuss staff roles and responsibilities as members and our liaisons of various town boards, commissions, and committees. And I think I had asked that this be placed on the agenda for this evening. I know that we have discussed this in prior meetings regarding Visit Hartford and the litigation between them and the county. And I don't want us to get in the middle of it, for sure. It'll be resolved by the courts in one way or another, but there's been another recent development. There was the initial lawsuit filed over the payment of the final $215,000 payment under the contract that was then terminated by the county, or not renewed at the end of the contract period. There's been a additional claim made in that case. There was legislation to designate Visit Hartford as the county's marketing organization. That legislation was vetoed by the county executive, went back to the county council, and they overrode his veto. So that is also in court because they are not being paid that money, allegedly, from the documents they filed. I know that, it's unfortunate that Angela is not here, but Angela, I believe, was initially on the board. Oh, terrific. I'm ready. Let me know. I'm sure.
So this dates back to last summer.
Right.
We had this discussion. Angela also sent me a synopsis of, I asked her to write a synopsis of everything so I can report things later.
Here's my one question, if we could start with the lead. Is she on the board of directors at this time?
Thank you. According to the webpage, she's listed on the board of directors, but as municipal liaison.
All right.
In that regard, she has been a non-voting member. She's made it clear to them that she's a non-voting member. When we pursued last year having them change her status on their webpage, they did add that she was municipal liaison. They didn't use ex officio, they didn't, whatever. She had also said that, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. Anyway, she was listed as on their board, but was a non-voting, or as a municipality liaison only. Sorry. I have a lot of other stuff that I've highlighted for you, but that's how we got started with this. Oh, I know I'm sorry, thank you. I know what the other point was. We declined signing their ethics statement and their non-disclosure statements. Those documents were reviewed with Liz, myself, and with Angela, and our ethics supersedes theirs. So regardless of whatever was discussed that they were asking their members to sign, we refused and declined and did not sign anything non-disclosure related to them. We operated under our ethics policy, or Angela did, I should say.
That's sort of, so she is or is not on the board of directors?
She's on the board
Okay.
as a
Okay.
non-voting member.
I do not think that any of our staff, and it's not just Visit Hartford and Angela, should be on the board of directors. As a liaison, fine, but if you're on the board of directors of an entity, you owe that entity a duty. In this case, has sort of highlighted where the conflicts can occur, or the problems with having somebody that is a Town of Bel Air person actually on the board as a voting or non-voting member, because Angela's
In their
doing-
capacity as an employee.
Correct, in their capacity as a town employee, not if somebody is on their, a board of directors for, I don't know, some other nonprofit entity or whatever, but not in their capacity as a town commissioner or a town director or a town employee. She's on there because she is the director of economic development for the town, and she owes her duty to the town. And the fact that they had other documents that they wanted her to sign regarding non-disclosure, that was one of my concerns, actually, was, you know, if you're on the board of directors for a private entity, they're not subject to the Public Information Act. They're, you know, may not wish you to discuss publicly what they have done behind closed doors for their entity. And I think that just sets up a natural problem that this particular case has really sharpened for me. So I would like no one, I don't know of anybody else that's actually on a board. We are all liaisons to, Rockfield or the Alliance or, many other entities that we work with closely and that are doing great things for the town, but we're not actually on the boards. We are merely a liaison to be there to, be informed about what is going on with regard to the town and their involvement in the town. But we're not on the board of directors, and I just don't think that anybody really should be and be put in that position.
If I could put, a finer point on it in terms of how I view it, my bright line is this. Someone who is asked to leave during a closed session, that's good. Someone who's permitted to stay during a closed session should not be in that capacity in their role as a town employee. So liaising, attending board meetings, like anybody else, I have no issue with that whatsoever. I think it's good to keep those ties open. But the minute you sort of cross that bright line into I'm attending in my capacity as a public official this closed session, that's where I do begin to have concerns. And I don't know the nature of this particular position at all. It just strikes me that generally, and I recognize there are tons of different ways that people proceed, but generally, if you look at Roberts, a non-voting member is allowed to stay for a closed session. So that membership, I agree, is an issue. Liaising, not an issue. And it may seem like splitting hairs, but I agree about that natural conflict.
And I don't think it's splitting hairs. I think it's a very, very important distinction that we really hadn't paid that much attention to until this incident. But I'm not sure that does anybody know of any other town person who is on the board? Yes, sir.
I was on the board for a time at Rockfield.
Okay, but you're not anymore.
I did not like it, and I
It's
asked to be
awkward.
removed.
In your capacity as director?
Yes.
It's
Okay.
awkward.
Yes,
Got
it
it.
was.
And that is why I don't think it's a good idea for
Right.
those awkwardness reasons,
So
as
I
well
can
as,
tell you it was awkward.
Yeah, and just to be very clear, I have absolutely no issue, nor do I think the town should begin to infringe on our employees' rights of free association in their capacity as private citizens.
absolutely not.
Whatsoever. Everyone in their private life is acting in their private capacity.
Right.
This is specifically as a representative of the town in
Absolutely.
that capacity. I agree. I think the town should, just no matter who it is, in case situations like these where sticky conflicts can arise and the town has no strategic interest in taking any particular position, I think it's best to disengage from that duty that you hold as a board member.
I agree.
So I did a cursory search of just local groups for us, and I looked at Rockfield, Downtown Alliance, and Cultural Arts, all three who have board of directors, all three of which we occupy liaison positions. None of those three boards listed us as a member of their board. So we attend their meetings, I know we do, because I get the minutes from them,
Right.
but they are not participatory. So I only searched 4 places, and of course, Visit Hartford does have Angela, does have the young lady from Havre de Grace, but there's no representative from Aberdeen, and we're not sure whether Phyllis Grover pulled herself off or not.
Aberdeen has resigned
Okay,
from the board of directors.
okay.
And I don't know if Havre de Grace is not going to resign or is going to, or I have no idea.
I don't
But
think
I do know that the Aberdeen representative has resigned from the board of directors.
I don't think you or I either one heard from Mayor Martin or his chief of staff that I'm aware of.
No.
Angela she did make 2 comments, depending on whatever direction the board tells me to go. She does see Visit Hartford still as a viable opportunity. She has monthly calls, her and Jenny have monthly calls, and with Visit Hartford, who asked them how can they help. Some of the opportunities that present during the Visit Hartford meetings, so Angela can find some opportunities there within as well. So depending on your direction, we can certainly notify Visit Hartford that we would like the name of our employee removed. Well, she'll be retained as liaison. I'm just concerned about do we hurt a partnership? The civil suit notwithstanding, do we hurt a partnership for opportunities that they may have for us that Hello Hartford doesn't? And Angela is equally liaisoning with both groups. Can't talk.
I know she is. I talked to her about that. And it is a very unhappy situation to be in as the town with Visit Hartford and the county at loggerheads, and I don't want us to get involved in it. But I do think that she needs to send them a letter of resignation from the Board of Directors so that it is official that she is not on the Board of Directors as a voting or non-voting. As far as continuing to be a liaison, at this point at least, I really don't want to turn down anyone's assistance, whether it's Visit Hartford or anybody else that wants to help the town get the word out about all the terrific things that we have going on here. And
If I understand correctly, then our action item would be a letter of resignation as a board member, but remain on as a municipal liaison and ask that her name be removed from the webpage as such.
that's my feeling, and certainly, I'm one of 5, so.
No, I agree. I think I would hate to resign from the board and then also leave as the liaison. I think that position of liaison is very important. I know that I've been that with Rockfield, and I think, it's been a tough time for Rockfield of late, just trying to get the money, get the building, get all those things. And I know that I've been of some value to help them. And I think I would hate to send the message that, no, we quit, and just pull out completely. I think that's a very bad message.
Yeah, I agree. I think, the board, being on the board, where's your allegiance to? Is it to the town or to the board? They can conflict. And also, I think, we should not be participating in boards of these organizations, but we should be still participating. I don't want to burn any bridges. There's still, usefulness that we can get out of that group potentially. And, I think we should continue as the liaison position, but not on the board.
And I trust that Angela has towed that line. Absolutely. It's just getting increasingly difficult to do that. So I think this is the best path forward.
It has nothing to do with Angela. I mean, it should,
It has nothing to do with
Wanna
Angela
make that very
whatsoever.
clear.
Nothing. I'd like to avoid putting her in any more difficult a position than she has to be in, and it is a very awkward position, and it may become more awkward, so I'd like to.
No, I agree. I think that's the exact posture. Not on the board of directors, but continue the liaison. Liaisons are great for the town. Yeah.
All right, I think we've reached a conclusion there. All right. Next, public announcements. The Bel Air Farmers Market, which is celebrating its 50th anniversary this year, begins in its 2025 season this Saturday, April 12th, which is also Kite Day. The market runs from 8 a.m. to noon in the parking lot of the Mary E.W. Ristow Building at 2 South Bond Street. It will be open each Saturday from 8 a.m. till noon through November 22nd. For opening day, volunteers with Bel Air's Tree Committee will be giving out free tree seedlings while supplies last in honor of Arbor Day. Make sure you get to the market early if you want a tree. I understand they're almost always all gone by 10 a.m., so when they say early, they mean early. Once you finish your shopping at the farmers market, why not head over to Rockfield Park for the Bel Air Kite Festival? The Kite Festival, an annual springtime tradition in the town going back to 2006, starts at 10 a.m. on Saturday and will be at the park's athletic fields through 4 p.m. And again, you need to be getting there early because free kites sponsored by the APG Federal Credit Union will be given out while supplies last. Check the kite packaging for a special card paying tribute to Alan Alt, a co-founder of the festival and kite enthusiast who passed away in 2024. We will also have 3 food vendors, Kona Ice, Cowboy Eats, and Love Crust Pizza. Parking will be available around the park as well as in the municipal parking garage and parking lot, both on Hickory Avenue. A free shuttle bus will run to and from the garage. The rain date for this event will be Sunday, April the 13th. Check our website and social media pages for updates. Friends of the Bel Air Library will hold their spring book sale at the Bel Air Library at 100 East Pennsylvania Avenue this week. Patrons can purchase books, hardback and paperback, along with CDs, DVDs, and puzzles. The sale runs from 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. on Friday, April the 11th, and Saturday, April 12th, from 10 a.m. to 6 on Monday, April 14th. Let me try that again. It's 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. on Friday, April the 11th, and Saturday, April 12th, and from 10 to 6 on Monday, April 14th. Visit the Bel Air Friends of the Harford County Public Library page on Facebook or call 410-638-3151 for more information. National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day will be from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. on Saturday, April 26th here in Harford County. If you want to drop off expired or unused medications and help keep them out of landfills and waterways, swing by the Bel Air Police Department here at 39 North Hickory Avenue. Other locations in Bel Air are the parking lot of the Harford County Administration Building at 220 South Main Street and the Maryland State Police Bel Air Barracks at 1401 Bel Air Road. Contact the Harford County Office of Drug Control Policy at 410-638-3333 or odcp@harfordcountymd.gov for more information. With the introduction of the Town Administrator's recommended fiscal year 26 budget tonight, the Board of Town Commissioners will hold several public work sessions to review the budget proposal this month. The work sessions will be held on Wednesday, April 9th, Tuesday, April 15th, and Tuesday, April 29th, all starting at 4:30 p.m. here in Town Hall. A public hearing on Resolution 1248-25, the proposed fiscal year 26 budget, will be held on Monday, April 21st during the next Town Hall meeting that starts at 7 p.m. in Town Hall. Additional budget work sessions have been scheduled for May, and all of these can be viewed from the comfort of your home via the magic of YouTube. The Appearance and Beautification Committee will meet at 7 p.m. on Monday, April the 14th in Town Hall. The Cultural Arts Commission will meet at 4 p.m. on Wednesday, April 16th in the second floor conference room at the Bel Air Armory. And the Board of Town Commissioners will meet at 7 p.m. on Monday, April the 21st in Town Hall. Did I miss anything? It's getting to be that busy springtime schedule. All right. Public comments. Is there any member of the public here this evening who wishes to make a public comment on any matter whatsoever? Doesn't have to be anything that was on the agenda this evening. All right, seeing none, commissioners' comments.
Yeah, we'll give you an update on the Planning Commission. Or the commission, yeah, we'll do the commissioners' reports, comments.
We can do commissioners' comments or commissioners' reports or
Right.
both.
Okay. We had, the Planning Commission met, just to let you know that there's a proposal that came in that was approved for a tramp park in, the.
Trampoline.
A tramp.
Trampoline.
Yeah, trampoline park. There we go. It'll be at the Pep Boys. I think they're taking the retail section out, which will now house the trampoline park. Upwards, they were saying like 30 trampolines, but the service center will still be there at Pep Boys. So that was a good thing. They'll have party rooms and all, so you can have parties and all, so it sounds like a good addition to the community. I think most of their hours of operation will be like 8 to 10, till 8 o'clock at night during the weekdays and 10 on weekends. So, or Friday, Saturday. But we have, oh, and then the other announcement, Kevin, you were talking, Mr. Small, about the potential for a nail salon and a Thai restaurant.
Yeah, we've had a submission for the property that's located adjacent to Cortland Hardware.
Right.
And for a nail salon and a restaurant.
Right. At the corner, right, at Allison and Bond, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
So in keeping with the planning theme, there were several questions from folks about what is going on at 510 Johnny's, and they have a demo permit, and the building is coming down, which I think is probably a step in the right
Right.
direction. I think they've had a hard time marketing that property
Yes.
because of the size and the configuration of that giant restaurant. And I know it's been sort of a focus for some folks who were not using it properly. So I think taking it down is probably a step in the right direction.
So there are no plans at this point for what's going to replace it. Right now, it's going to be dirt.
Right, that's just the work from there. I hope they have some success in marketing. It's a great location with a lot
Yeah.
of parking, but that building, I think, was just an impediment to getting anything else in there, so
If
we'll
I
see what
may,
happens.
If I could piggyback off something Mr. Chismar was talking about, we do have a meeting set up with the McComas family, Kevin and I and Angela. They approached us wanting to know what our vision was for the north end of town from a planning and economic development perspective, so we'll be meeting with their family next week, I believe. The building at this point, I guess the process for demolition has slowed. They've removed the asbestos, but they do want to meet with us and have some discussions, which is a great step. I'm looking forward to it, great step in the right direction.
That was another thing that gained some attention on social media. Some people really were sorry to see the old buildings go down, but other people chimed in with the problems that were there with asbestos and other kinds of environmental issues. So I agree with you. I think it's a step in the right direction because they were so far gone, I don't think they could have been saved, which is sad, but at least we're moving ahead.
if Facebook would just have a phone number that people could call Town Hall for honest, accurate, straightforward information, it would just save a lot of people's time on the keyboard, and they could search for recipes and cat themes.
I did jump in on the Facebook question about 510 Johnny's and
Yes, you did.
answered that.
Yes, you did.
So that was, and I did see that several other people answered accurately the issue about the buildings that are coming down the McComas property. So I didn't feel any need to jump in there, but when I do see it, I try to let them know what's going on. And actually, somebody had tagged in the town of Bel Air on the 510 Johnny's thing, so I thought that was a great idea.
For sure.
Tag the town in
We
and
can
get an
answer
answer, get from somebody who knows the facts. Because there were many people who were having silly answers there about what was going on, so.
Have any of the commissioners had a chance to go down Thomas Street and look at the renovations?
I have driven past
have.
it, but not down it.
I was going to ask Mr. Small about an update. He gave one at the Planning Commission meeting about an update as the status of that project.
Yep.
Yeah, that's,
Oh,
Mr.
you-
Klein is
it's
the better
Mr. Klein,
person to
okay.
answer it.
That's right.
Thomas Street.
Thomas George Street, the status of that, what's their schedule, completion dates, and things like that, let the community
You mean
know.
the street resurfacing and everything?
Yes, and the sidewalks and all
Yeah,
that
yeah,
is
yeah.
going on.
We're looking at the end of May for the first phase to be completed. They've made quite a bit of progress with the walkway. They're about halfway done with that brick paver walkway.
Right.
And as soon as they're done that, they should pave and then bring in some of the site amenities like the street lights as well as the landscaping. Should all come together very nicely. So
So-
they're telling us the end of May, so
And then Phase 2 is George Street?
going up,
Is that
going
correct?
up Thomas Street more.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. And then also George.
And also,
Yeah,
Phase 2
George
would be George.
Phase 3. I don't know
Oh,
how they're
fa-
gonna do it, if they're gonna just jump over to George and do that real quick.
Because that's already that was funded in this year's
That
budget.
was, you approved that project,
Right.
yes, sir.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, great. And then just another note for the other commissioners, we have a meeting Wednesday about a feral cat issue in Howard Park with
We do in fact.
with Harford
Yes.
County Animal Control and
Yep.
Humane
Cat's,
Society.
Cat's the problem, not the musical. So we'll be
Right.
just, don't expect any music or anything. It'll just be a meeting.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
just kidding.
No Broadway show?
No Broadway show. Well, unless we move the Cats to Broadway, then it could be a Broadway show. Just saying.
I think the neighborhood would be happy if we did that.
I don't think anyone
Yes.
wants to move
No, I'm kidding.
to another location.
We will we'll have all the relevant stakeholders there for that meeting, and hopefully we'll get a start on a good conversation.
Right.
That's great, because I did receive a phone call from one of the residents, and it's very frustrating.
Yes.
Very,
It
very,
is.
very frustrating, and it's been an ongoing problem, and it really needs to be addressed. So, thank you.
Yes.
All right. I will take this opportunity to, unless Commissioner Rutledge, you have comments, because this is going to be
I had
relatively
just
lengthy.
a few quick comments
Please.
before you do the update.
Absolutely.
Maybe give you a few more seconds on your computer with your Annapolis connections. So first, I just wanted to just reiterate what all of us are feeling tonight about Officer Rick Kraus. Just fantastic, great honor for him, certainly, for his family, for the police department. And so, Chief, just, I know as soon as those ceremonies are done, they're out of here, but if you pass that on,
Absolutely. Yes,
really
sir.
appreciate it.
Yep.
Just an outstanding story, sacrifice, service to the community, just a wonderful presentation and award, really. So that's fantastic. I did have on my notes here Thomas Street, because I have received positive feedback from constituents about how they're seeing things coming along. So I know that people oftentimes have complaints, are quick to hit, the communication channels. I just wanted to let you all know that I've received some very positive feedback about now that see the brick side, the brick pavers, everything going in, that can see it coming together. So that's wonderful, and it's gonna, I know, look really great when it's all finished. I wanted to pass that on.
Good. Jim, and we're getting really good feedback from the actual properties just adjacent to the project. They're very excited about how we've left their properties. They've done a really nice job blending in the new seed and straw and everything to their existing lawns, so there's not like a big bare areas of soil and mud and everything. So in a couple weeks, we're gonna have a really nice lawn there on the outside of those pavers, and it should really come along pretty nicely. I think people will be really happy about what they see. I think it will really improve the overall appeal of that neighborhood, you know, and it'll only be beneficial, so.
And the last thing I wanted to do was thank Mr. Hopkins and Director Moody, all the directors, Chief, everybody, working so hard, Mr. Krantz, on getting together the budget process, because we've had a lot, you know, to do. You've had a lot of work to do unrelated to the budget so far in 2025, and we certainly recognize that, and so really appreciate the hard work that you've put into it and look forward to the budget process. So that were my comments.
And right before Commissioner Taylor takes us to Annapolis, Rick Kraus is a terrific advertisement for the town of Bel Air, and in particular the police department. He is loved by those kids, and I think that is just such a great thing that he brings to the town. The community really appreciates what he does. The Explorers Unit, the summer camp, the school resource officer, all of it. You have a great department, and I know I wanted to specifically call out, I know the Bel Air Police Department has been very busy of late, what with the trial going on in the circuit court, as well as the rally that was here on Saturday, and it went as well as one could expect. My hat is off to you. You guys are doing a great job in keeping the community, the traffic moving. The protesters get to have their piece of sidewalk to exercise their First Amendment rights, but I think it went very, very well.
It actually did it went well. It was pretty peaceful, not many disruptions, a couple little hiccups here and there. Somebody did try to fly a drone. We stopped that. A couple of people tried to disrupt the traffic, but overall, everybody was cooperative and they understood.
And that is the important thing, that you were there to make sure
Yes,
that
ma'am.
nobody was interfering with anyone else.
Yeah.
And I was very happy to see that. We can't allow that down, and my hat is off to you for doing it in such a great way that it really was just a few hiccups and not some
Thank you,
terrible
ma'am.
incident.
Yep.
And the last thing I wanted to say was, the budget in general, I know is a big thing to get together, but it's not just that, it's that we have a balanced budget with no tax increase, and yet there are raises for employees. And my hat is off to every one of you, because I know that is not something that's easy to do. You've been really good stewards of the taxpayers' money. You've been very careful with it. You are appreciative of the folks that work for you. And I think that's just, this budget is just the culmination of that you're very fiscally responsible, each and every one of the departments. And it lets us be in a great position to be able to, in all likelihood, approve the budget more or less the way it stands, with raises for the people that work for us and are the real face of the town, and to not raise taxes. So it's a win-win. The residents will be happy, and so will the town. But I know that's not easily done, particularly in these really kind of tough economic times. And I'm glad we're in this enviable position, really. So thank you. And now we go to Annapolis with Commissioner Taylor.
Well, before I begin, I want to second all those comments. We really are blessed with a hardworking staff and a valiant and valorant is the word, really, not just valiant, but valorant BAPD. They keep us safe day in and day out. All right, so the moment everyone has been waiting for the past 90 days. For those, the folks in this room know all too well, but for those at home who are just tuning in less than 4 hours, the 447th session of the Maryland General Assembly will adjourn. And there's been some good, there's been a lot of bad, and I've identified over the course of the past 90 days 7 bills that really have a major impact on us, and I thought it would be prudent to share with my colleagues and our staff and the public the status of those 7 bills. So the first that we've already discussed, but I just want to throw it out there again one last time, is House Bill 1466, which is the ADU policy bill. This was discussed, this has been passed for about a week now. This has been passed on to the governor. It was significantly amended from how it came in. I know Director Small is of the mind that it may not require any revisions at all to our ADU policy, and if it does, then they're relatively topical and aesthetic.
Some of it I think we have to talk through, because and
Okay.
I need to talk with the town attorney, because it's very vague language.
It is,
And whether or not it affects us or not is somewhat of a.
Okay, so TBD. So that,
Yeah.
but that's something that we thankfully have had a few weeks, that you've had a few weeks to lay eyes on, and it'll become law, I believe, in July. Might be one of those October effective dates, I can't recall, but we've got some time to figure out how we need to adapt if we do in fact need to take corrective action. Moving on, House Bill 503. That was significant. That's the governor's housing bill. That was significantly amended from the House, and then another amendment proffered in the Senate Triple E Committee. To give the 90-second version of that, it was initially a wide-ranging overhaul on the authority of local government to control zoning and permit approval or planning commission approvals within its jurisdiction. 90% of that was stripped out of the bill. It was left as a bill that did three things: created a commission to study housing generally in the state of Maryland, allowed the Department of Housing and Community Development to apportion housing gaps, which are essentially, the gap was the word they used in the first draft, housing targets, yes, which was sort of the positive spin of gap. It's not a gap, it's a target, right? That has less teeth to it than the gap, so to speak. So it's not to say that you are in a deficit necessarily, rather this is to what you should aspire, right? So that classic, political spin on it. So anyway, most of the teeth in terms of, they weren't going to punish us, at least not yet, for not meeting those targets. They were just saying, hey, here are the targets that you have. This is okay. The last thing that was of great import to local government was that it changed Maryland, and as we in the town of Bel Air very well know, Maryland is a late vesting state. We know that very well. It would change us to an early vesting state. In fact, one of the earliest in the nation. It created true vesting, real vesting at the status of the Planning Commission approval, and it created a sort of second-tier vesting where it wasn't calling you vested, but the rules were frozen as soon as you had submitted a complete or substantially complete application to either the Planning Commission or even the zoning administrator. So it was a big jump, it was a big leap. And our friends at MACO pointed out a lot of legal issues, understanding that current case law, it may be imperfect, it may be incomplete because it is case law, it's not statute. There's 50 years of it. And so to overturn it with really only a week to discuss this would leave localities in a great deal of litigation as they came to understand what the definitions in this new law meant. And so the Senate Triple E Committee, taking in those comments from MACO, converted that early vesting portion of the bill to a study, essentially saying, well, we're not going to take any action on vesting now. We're going to charge this new commission that we're creating to study the topic of vesting so that we can get a more holistic view of what changes, if any, should be made to Maryland vesting policy. The skinny on this is that it was voted out of Triple E as amended this morning. It has not yet hit the Senate floor for second reader. The House, which they don't often do but are allowed to do, the House preemptively voted to not concur with the Senate amendments. And at risk of getting too jargony, in order for a bill to pass in Annapolis, it doesn't just need to be passed by both chambers, it needs to be passed in the same posture by both chambers. So essentially the House was flagging for the Senate before the Senate even passed this version. Initially, it was saying, if you do this, get ready for a conference committee, which is when 3 members of the House and 3 members of the Senate get together to work out differences in a bill. So with now 3.5 hours left in session, it's not come up. Commissioner Rutledge was right. It was playing in the background. I was keeping tabs. It's not come up. I think the road to becoming law for this bill is pretty narrow because it's not even been reported out of the Senate, let alone is there a conference committee. And really just taking a step back, regardless of how you feel about the content, and there's a lot to be said about the case law that I won't say. But regardless of how you feel about it, there was only a week to consider this issue. And now there would only be 3 hours to work out a compromise between one of the most bold and aggressive vesting regimes in the country, which is where the bill came in from the House, to we're merely going to study the issue. It's kind of hard to reach a happy medium between those two positions, because one is let's study it, one is let's go gangbusters. I mean, what do? Do a halfway policy? Probably not. Both sides seems pretty entrenched with believing that they are right. So if they can't agree, if both chambers can't agree by midnight, the bill turns back into a pumpkin, and we come back next year. And that's what I suspect will happen. But of course, as I was telling the town administrator earlier, nothing is dead until midnight, so I give that caveat. All right, moving forward. H. Bill 322, Mr. Krantz. I told you that I would be very worried if this bill was not on a voting list by Friday. Last Friday, it was voted out by the Triple E Committee. It has not yet been passed by the Senate. It was on second reading. It is now on third reading. I'm going to pull up where they are right now. Mr. Krantz, this is perfect timing. The Senate is currently voting on House Bill 322. So I'm going to come back around to this so that I can give you some good news after those 47 green votes have gone up on that board. I did not plan this. I'm not nearly that well connected.
The election issue. Board of Elections.
This is the Board of Elections
Right.
that allows thank you, Commissioner Chismar. For those who aren't familiar, the Board of Elections, the State Board of Elections, threatened essentially to pool support from municipal elections, saying that they were not permitted to under Maryland Code, even though they had been for decades. Our lawmakers very swiftly rushed to say, we need to fix this, and that is what they are currently doing. So hopefully we will see a positive outcome on that soon here. And that, of course, if this bill does not pass, we might need a budget amendment for election expenses. So let's really hope that that doesn't happen, because that leaves a big hole in every municipality's budget. So we'll circle back once that has passed. All right, HB 1255, the Little Bel Air bill that could, regarding historic preservation. That was actually, I'm very impressed. That was heard before Triple E today. I've never seen a bill hearing on Sine Die, which is the last day of session. It was heard today. The bill hearing, there was no opposition. It has not been voted out by Triple E, and again, with 3.5 hours left, it probably won't make that final baton. But it made it a lot farther than I think I expected it to on crossover, which puts us in a really good posture for next year, because we get to say, both chambers have now seen this. Both committees have now seen it. Triple E has now seen it, which is good. We can get a Senate cross-file next year, and we can pre-file it next year, and I think this will, I rate this as having a very good chance of becoming law next year. It was just a little bit late in the process this year, but everyone's concerns have been mollified. The Baltimore City had some concerns because they do not want anything to go to their Board of Appeals because of the size of their jurisdiction. They want to go right to circuit court. Totally respect. The bill was amended to make that crystal clear. It's in a perfect position. All right. Some good news, SB 342, which was that local election bill regarding voting rights and the Federal Voting Rights Act that I flagged, that has not been picked up by the House Ways and Means Committee. And again, that's in a situation where with 3.5 hours, I don't expect that to come up. That was something that, honestly, Town Council, I think we would have had to do a budget amendment to give you some more hours to look through that bill, because that was so complex, and really, that would have been another major election issue that thankfully we likely won't have to contend with. There are two smaller bills that I want to bring up that are enabling pieces of legislation that just I want to put on the table for my colleagues over the next couple of months. These might be policies that we wish to enact. These have both been passed by both chambers. They're on to the governor. I suspect he'll sign both. And these are two small things that municipalities, local governments have been empowered to do to support veterans and to support first responders. So the first is disaster service leave and pay enabling language for local governments. We remember the storm in North Carolina and the contingent of folks that we offered, and our men and women have never been one to shy away from a disaster zone, never been one to shy away from quite frankly anyone in need, even if they're hundreds of miles away. What this does is provide extra leeway for a town government to provide service leave, paid service leave, as well as a couple other incentives and benefits. This is House Bill 1080, and I would just ask as a preliminary measure for our staff to look into this, and it's something that seems good to me. I'd like to see if we can implement it, and understand sort of what the contours of that will be, but it seems like something worth looking at. Similarly, this is more in Mr. Krantz's wheelhouse, but something that I think is worth considering and looking at how we might implement it if it would be beneficial to us. This is House Bill 1443, and this is hiring promotion preference for veterans or spouses of veterans for local government. So what this does is, in the application process, it allows you to add, I guess points would be the word, to an application if that person is either a veteran or a spouse of a veteran. Very simple bill, again, enabling something that a municipality can express a preference for hiring veterans or the spouse of a veteran if they so choose to do. I'd be curious in getting our town clerk's thought on that, and looking into that as well. And of course, for my colleagues, just wanted to put those out there as things that, you know, I may be interested in bringing up, one of you may be interested in bringing up once we get some substantive feedback from our staff about how we can implement that. But those seemed like two good bills, two good deals. So I'm going to end by saying I'm not going to have an answer for you tonight because there's been a floor amendment proffered on House Bill 322, and the Senate is still debating it. I won't even get into OIC. The floor amendment, I'll just say this, I expect this bill to pass unamended, but this was something that was offered in the House. This would require each municipality to require voter registration for its elections, prohibiting an individual from becoming registered to vote in a municipal election if the individual is not a citizen of the United States. So the goal is to only fund, I know we do. The goal of this floor amendment, which may very well be some good policy, is to only fund by the state, this is like a lifetime narration of what's happening, only fund those municipalities that allow citizens to vote. And the floor amendment failed. Okay. So I will end it there and just say that I suspect that this will be passed in the Senate in the next 30 seconds.
Commissioner,
Yes.
can I take you back to House Bill 1080? Did you say it was passed, or you want us to review it for consideration?
It is passed. Both
Okay.
1080 and 1443 have been passed. They are just waiting on the governor's signature. And hold Mr. Krantz, hold Mr. Krantz, hold Mr. Krantz.
Mr. Krantz is on the edge of his seat. I saw the expression on his face when you said there was an amendment.
On a vote of 41-5, House Bill 322 has been passed by the Senate of Maryland. The authority of the State Board of Elections to support local municipalities has been restored,
Thank goodness.
pending the governor's signature.
Thank goodness.
What a dramatic way to end that. I really didn't plan that at all. But I thank my colleagues for their indulgence. This has been a long session. This has been, in my opinion, for local government, not quite as disastrous as last year, but just to get on my soapbox a little bit, for our constituents, this has been a very rough session. This session included a $1.7 billion tax increase that I did not go into because it doesn't affect us directly, but it does affect the people we represent. I was very disappointed to see that not our representatives from Harford County, but statewide elected representatives from across the state chose the path of increased taxes and fee burdens on the people of Maryland to pay for what I believe to be really reckless spending programs that need to be reined in these difficult times. So I will leave it there. There was some good, some bad, but once again, I appreciate my colleagues for their indulgence, and Mr. Krantz, I hope you sleep just a little bit better tonight than maybe you did last night.
A little bit.
Well, thank you, Commissioner Taylor. I do appreciate the updates from Annapolis because we are affected by some of these bills, and I was concerned about Mr. Krantz. I was going to ask you to text him with the end result so he could sleep tonight. But congratulations, Mr. Krantz. I'm thrilled. It was really a common sense thing to fix, to enable, to put into statute what has been going on for decades. So thank goodness they found the time in their busy legislative session to do that. It has been sort of disastrous where we went from a $5 billion reserve, and now we have a $3 billion hole that is being filled with. That is a huge, huge swing. So I just renewed my tag, so I will escape it for 2 years, I guess, but eventually it'll get me. It's very expensive. Anyone else have any comments?
Just want to introduce you to our new podium.
I was introduced earlier today,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
It's color
was-
coordinated to the new
It was a labor of love,
interior,
putting it
and-
together and
Yep.
had it ready for you tonight.
It-
You
it-
have about 8 feet of play in the court if you get nervous and you want to roll around the room.
Okay. Well, it's nice that we can like move it around a little bit for those that are, need to face this way or that way. So that is a nice addition to our room. Anyone else have any comments this evening? No? In that case, may I have a motion to adjourn?
Is that me? I move we adjourn.
And
Second.
second? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
We stand adjourned.